Welcome to Coaching the Brave podcast with Yvonne Chase. I am Yvonne Chase, and I am here to provide you positivity and possibility because hope and community is something that we all strive for and we all really need. So enjoy and sit back. I am so thankful that you are here another week because what we're going to be discussing here is just so many fun people who are not only part of the military community, but who are also part of the civilian community and who have things to offer for the military. And it's not only about interviews and chatting together, but it's also about experiences of coaching and meditations and just fun little quirky things that come to mind that I just want to share with you. And I hope that they bring you a light at the end of the day to take with you to the rest of the week. And I hope you really enjoy. Without further ado, let's get into it. Okay, so I have today an amazing woman. She is also a life coach and a teen mom, a military brat, a professional counselor. I'm so excited to bring her on today. Her and I kind of found each other. I believe it was meant to be, just because things happen for a reason. But the way that it was, I of course was looking for networking people to kind of connect with, and I had just moved to Washington. And what happened was, since I was looking for networking people, life coaches to connect with in the local area, I found this beautiful woman, and I thought she was here. Chance had it that she was actually still in Clarksville, which is still very close to home. And it was just amazing. And then I found out all these beautiful things about her. So I can't wait to bring her on today and introduce her. Like I said before, she is a life coach. She grew up in the military as a military child and has a passion in helping young adults get on the right path to success in all the aspects of their life. Having learned a lot over the years from personal experience of being a young single mom and her background in education in public health and coaching, this beautiful woman, her name is Pachion. She loves to see someone step out of their comfort zone, and surprise themselves with everything they can accomplish. I love that. She's dedicated to helping make a positive difference in the lives of others and connecting with them. So, Pachion, thank you so much for joining me today on this podcast, Coaching the Brave.
Yes. Yes. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Absolutely. Yay. Well, today we're just going to have some fun. I'm curious, what's on your mind today? Is there anything exciting so far in the morning?
Well, nothing super exciting, just some admin stuff. Working on a couple of different things. I have a few things coming up in February, so just trying to get prepared for all those things and making some more connections, hopefully, and getting out there and in the community. So super excited for those things.
Oh, I'm so excited to hear you and to have you share with all of the military community what it is that you do because it is so important, and especially for other teen moms who are growing up
Yeah,
and in the Black community as well,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I'm just so excited to hear. So please share like a snip of, your background and coming into how you got to where you are today.
Yeah, yeah. So, I was born and raised into a military family. So we've bounced around a few times. And so we ended up in, from Georgia to Texas to Hawaii and then landed in Fort Campbell. And so my dad retired here at Fort Campbell when I was about in eighth grade. So I've been here ever since. Around my senior year of high school, I became pregnant. And so that was, very difficult. The military community in itself, it's its own little community. And at the time, we were no longer staying on base, but we were off post, since he was now retired and everything. And so that's its own community in itself in Clarksville.
Yeah.
So, that was a little difficult. Rumors, the what you would think a teen mom would go through. I definitely went through rumors. People telling me, "Oh, your life is ruined." What are you going to do with yourself? A lot of shame, a lot of guilt, a lot of alone time, depression. But I ended up dealing with it in almost two communities instead of just one, because Fort Campbell is its own. And my parents are still heavily affiliated with Fort Campbell. My mom still works up there. My dad, he coaches, teams up there and everything like that. So like we're still often on post. So there was rumors that were spread on that base as well. So it was kind of like a double whammy for me. So and from there, just based off of my experience there, my experience I had as a um, pregnant teenager, I was on post. My care was there, but I had a lot of good resources that were provided to me based off of the care that I had at the hospital up there. Also, my mom was a really good support system, as well as my dad, and protecting me from things outside of my knowledge. But I was able to go to school, um, get on assistance that I needed to be on, find the different ways of where I can afford daycare, where I could go to school full time. And so I was able to go get my bachelor's. And while I was in there, I was like, I really want to do something along the lines of my midwife that I had with my son, because that she really made a difference in my life. And so I went to school. I was like, I'll just go to school for nursing because maybe I'll become a midwife. And that was the goal. As I continued to go through school, I was like, I really like public health. Maybe I just want to educate people on teen moms, and that it's really not as difficult as people think it is. Um, but also, I really wish that I was well educated in terms of abstinence, or protecting myself and those things before getting pregnant, because those things just aren't talked about in the community that we were in. And a lot of times it's just because we're in a Bible Belt, and it's just, no, how about you just don't do that, you
Yeah.
just stay pure. And a lot of times, like, with us being in a military community, people are coming from all different sides of the U.S. and everything like that. So I grew up in a very diverse type of world, and so I knew things outside of abstinence, and so it wasn't as simple as, oh well, the Bible says just do this.
Right.
It's already been spoken about from different
Yep.
people and everything. So while I was in school, I was like, I want to be able to be that resource and come up with different programs and everything like that to help, teenagers before they hit teen moms, or teen dads, stuff like that. Um, so when I did that, I did my internship at a local pregnancy center. And from there, I was like, I am obsessed with being here. I love it here. I want to stay here. I don't care what the cost is. If you pay me, if you don't, I love it here. And so they were a very small nonprofit. And so they didn't really have room for anybody else. So I started looking for jobs in that area, along the same area. And so what I was looking up, everything needed to have like a master's degree in some sort of counseling. And so I held off on it for a while, and I just went ahead and graduated with my bachelor's in public health, and went and worked for like a local private health facility here in town. And so I finally found one. It's Christian based, a nonprofit organization, and I loved it. They do counseling, they help, you know, unexpected pregnancies, teen pregnancies, all of that. I was like, I really want to be there. And so they also had the requirement that you have to have a master's degree. And so I went ahead and started the process of getting my master's in counseling. And at the time, I was like, I really don't want to diagnose anybody with anything as far as like counseling goes. I really want to be able to step in and help them guide themselves and give next steps on what they need to do next, and see them actually take action steps. And I know counselors can't necessarily do all of that. And so as I was just, praying over it and looking through like the program that I was in, I ran across there was a master's degree in life coaching. And so that's how I ended up as a life coach. So I ended up going that route. I did a lot of work, like I noticed within myself, even though I've gone through all these different things in life, I was always a person that somebody would come to and talk to about certain things they had going on and helping them figure out, well, what is it that you want to do next? How can you get there? And so that's exactly what a life coach does, basically.
Exactly.
And so that's how I got to where I am now. And now I'm just working on growing my business and, networking with other life coaches and people in the community and trying to get my name out there so I can help as many people as I can.
Oh, I love this story. Thank you, Passion, for sharing this with us. This is just
Yes.
so enlightening because, like
Yes.
you said, there was tough times. The support system was basically your parents. And then
Hmm.
just rumors out there of other just things they didn't know.
Hmm.
All that drama and the negativity, but you stayed
Hmm.
strong through all of
Yeah.
that, and you got your freaking masters.
Yes.
Woo! You go, girl. Heck yes. Oh my gosh, I love these stories. They're just so enlightening for so many and hopeful for others
Yeah.
as well. And
Yeah.
teen moms is something that you heard of maybe 50s, 60 years ago, and nowadays it's shunned upon. And there's different variables that go along with it, but you know, those babies are just so beautiful. My mom was a teen mom baby, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. So
Yeah.
thank you. You know what I mean? Like I say this all the time whenever I talk with teen moms because you are such a light in our life, in our community, in our world. Your baby could do something great one day. You know what I mean? And then look at you.
Yeah.
You are achieving so much and then helping others on top of that. If it wasn't for that,
Yeah.
so oh my gosh, amazing. So I want to kind of go back to the resources that you had at the hospital because being already retired military child of a soldier who was already retired, how
Hmm.
was that? Was it still under the TRICARE or was that under your insurance or the state? How did that work
Yeah.
out? Just for information for
Yeah.
our listeners.
That's a super good question. So I was still under TRICARE at the time since I was still a teen. I was still a dependent of my dad. And so the way it was going to work out, my baby was not going to have that opportunity. Um, his dad actually was at basic at the time, and but it was very hard trying to communicate with him. He didn't necessarily want to sign the birth certificate, and so what we found out, my dad went to, I believe he went to Deers, or he had called TRICARE, one of the two, to figure out how it is that he can get my son under him as a dependent. And so I ended up actually having to like do temporary custody to where my parents had temporary custody of him so that they can do it for medical reasons. Had to go to the courthouse and get those papers signed and then take it all to Deers. And so had to have my son up under him. But I did go through the state as well to get state insurance because we just didn't know how that was going to plan out. Um, so yeah, my son ended up at one point having both state insurance and TRICARE because of that. And so now he's has the same benefits that I had, being my dad's dependent. So he has, you know, the military privilege. He'll have a military ID. He got it early because he's, a ward
Right.
basically of,
Yep.
um, and so he'll be able to be under his TRICARE until he's 21 out of college or whatever like that too. So
It's such a blessing.
yeah, it
The
was wonderful. Yeah,
sacrifice that your dad made, just being in the military and then having that benefit for us there for TRICARE and all of that. That is just so wonderful. And, knowing that you were able to have that custody and would you say that that was a smoother process or was that still harder too, getting that?
I think at first, the thought of me having to move custody over to like my parents was very difficult. But the conversation I had with my dad was, we're only doing this on paper so that he can have medical. You are fully his parent. I'm not taking over at all at any point. So having that conversation and knowing that's what it was going to be was very helpful. And so yeah, my son he's been with me. I've always felt like I was his parent. I've never felt like, they've had custody of him at all. And I know that we had to do that as a sacrifice so that my son had proper care. But yeah, it was hard at first. But once I got over the knowledge of that and understanding the reasoning behind it, it was very easy to do. And I think doing it with the courthouse and everything back then, it was a little bit simpler. We didn't have to do like a whole big court date. I think I've had a few friends that have done it since then, and they had to have like a court date. So it's a little bit different now, but it was a lot easier then.
Wow, amazing. And looking back, having this business now to help others in the same or similar situation, you know,
Yeah.
having that knowledge, how is that like?
I love it because a lot of times people they have no idea what their community offers out there for them. It's not advertised. And having somebody who's been there and has had like experience there, it's so helpful. And it's great to like see people like see a little light at the end of a tunnel when they have like no idea how they're going to make it or make it the next decision or what they're supposed to do next. So I'm grateful for the experiences that I had, in hindsight, looking back at them. Of course, me going into it, we didn't really have anybody ahead of us to talk to. We were really trying to figure it out on our own.
Right.
So,
Goodness. It must have been so scary back then. How long ago was that?
uh, about almost 10 years ago now.
Okay. Yeah, a lot has changed
hmm
since then. Way, your parents were your main support. Did you have anyone else supporting you?
I've had some of my really close friends. I had my midwife. There was a few people from our church that are friends with my mom that they're still supporters. But really, it was like my family. So, like my parents. I've had a few aunts and uncles, and my sister, and a childhood best friend of mine, and my cousin, which I call them like my sisters. We
Yeah,
hang out all the time.
yeah.
So they were really like a good support system for me for sure. But yeah, it was really family mainly. And then once I got to college, the college I went to, they actually had like coach, almost like life coaches, but they just called them coaches, like academic coaches.
Mhm.
She was a wonderful, wonderful support person for me as well. She gave me all these different resources. She was very supportive and encouraging. So I had support in the most random areas. I got like a job at Starbucks like for the summer one time, and there was many times where like, well, I have to quit because I have to like go to school and then take care of my baby. And at the time, I was living with my parents, and they were like, "Well, I know you want to make a little bit of money for yourself. How about we just cut your hours down and cut your hours down and make sure you still have like a schedule. And whenever you want to pick up, just let me know." Like I had amazing support from random encounters that I didn't think I was gonna, have. Like they didn't have to help me with that. It's just a job.
Yeah,
So that was great.
that was so beautiful to have that, ability to just communicate what you're feeling and what you're needing, and then have them
Mhm.
be able to support you in that way of, hey, I'm gonna cut your hours down, and I heard that Starbucks is really good about that. They really care about their employees.
They really do. I honestly 100% refer them all the time. When someone's like, "I just need a little, part-time job or something," like they very much so take care of their workers. So I would go back if I needed to for sure.
Yeah, yeah, I would too. I
Yeah.
would go back. I love coffee. I love Starbucks.
Yes.
So, what were you after, your bachelor's in between your master's? I know you said you volunteered at two places. They were
Mhm.
Christian based, and then one was nonprofit. Is that right?
Well, it was one place, and it was
Oh,
both nonprofit and Christian based. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
So,
So I stayed there for, I mean, the whole summer. So about 3 months I was there.
and what was that like that, made you come up to, I love this. I want to help
Mhm.
others do this. And then, they needed master's degrees. So you decided to
Mhm.
go on and look for a college that was Christian based and that you can
Mhm,
also be a life coach and everything. So walk
mhm.
us through that.
Yeah, so I was there basically, I just needed to get my hours. And so I went to actually, which is amazing. My pastor at the time, I was working at Starbucks still, and my pastor used to come in there and he would like, just do little notes and work in there. And so he came in and asked me, he was like, "Hey, do you have to do an internship?" And I was like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, have you heard of Hope Pregnancy Center?" I was like, "I have. I've not been in there." And he was like, "I think you would be a really good fit there. We do a lot of work with them." And so he got me connected to have like a sit down meeting with the president that they have there. And so I sat there with them, got on the schedule, and she told me all about the program. And what it was for me is she was telling me they had a program where girls would come in and the incentive was they go to their doctor's appointments, basically do the things that they're supposed to do to take care of their babies, go to their doctor's appointments, whether they're pregnant or the baby's here, present. They take the babies to their appointments. Um, and then they would go to, the WIC office if they need to do that. And what they would do is like they come in, show proof that they went to those visits, and they get points. And at the bottom of their facility, they have all these clothes for babies, diapers, clothes for mom, toys, and everything like that, that they're basically getting for free. But they're buying it with the points or basically the receipt saying that they went to their doctor's appointments and took care of their baby. And so it was amazing just to be able to like let them know like, hey, these are the resources out here. You can go to the WIC's office. There's Head Start down here. If you go do this and fill this out, come back and get this many points and we can help you get this. Pick up food for your baby if you need. Just be able to be a extra help for somebody in need that needed it. I fully enjoyed that, and sometimes, like, I was able to pray over them, or they were just able to tell me what they had going on, and I big person on empathy, so, like,
Right.
I just enjoyed being there, and I remember when I was there, like, mind you, at the time, I'm still there, but, like, I'm a little bit further ahead, I'm like, "Oh my gosh," and I didn't know about Hope. That's one resources I didn't know about when I was pregnant, and I was like, "Had I known about this would have been amazing."
Yes.
And so that's where I got my like aha moment. And then so what I started doing, I asked him was like, hey, can I know of a couple other resources that you guys are not connected with? Is there any way I can maybe go there and connect you guys and maybe make like some more areas where these girls can be connected in the community? So like workforce essentials and some other things like that. So I was able to do like a few meetings for them and connect the two to like some different organizations and stuff. And so it was awesome. And I fully enjoyed making connections in the community and also going back and sharing it with some of these girls and be like, hey, these are some areas I know you said you needed help in this area. This is what I found for you. And being able to see them like, oh my gosh, I can like do something and be okay.
Oh, passion. That is beautiful. Like those are the things that yes, that we all need. We all need these resources and for you to have that leadership role and to have that gearing passion to do that, it's your name.
Yes.
You were able to do that. That is amazing. Woo! I celebrate you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love that. So you had this awakening moment of, I love this. I love networking in the
Hmm.
community. I love having these women be connected to these different workforces and, babies, WIC, and all of that, and then get their
Hmm.
incentives afterwards. And, if I could share a little bit about my experience with Hope Pregnancy Center, I would love that.
Yeah.
I don't know
I
if
would
it
love
was
that.
even I don't even know if it was around the same time that you were there. It may have been. It was,
I don't know.
2014 and 15. Were
I
you
think
there?
no, I was there the year after actually.
Oh, okay, okay. 'Cause, I had Jasmine. I didn't know about it till after, and I was just driving on, 41A, and, I
Yeah.
saw the Hope Pregnancy Center, and I was like, I'm just gonna check it out 'cause I do the same as you. I love networking. I love kind of connecting with the community, but this time it
Yeah.
was like, "Oh, I wonder what this is about." And so I
Hmm.
had already had my first, Jasmine.
Hmm.
So I wasn't sure if they could even help me because it said pregnancy center. So I
Yeah.
wasn't sure. But I went in there and they're like, we can help you until I believe it was age 3 or 5,
Hmm.
something like
I
that.
think it's H5. Yeah.
Okay. So I was like, oh my gosh, this is great. and then at the time, we were kind of thinking about trying for our second as well. So, I knew instantly that that was my place to go because, that's where we went for they even gave us a baby shower for my
Yes.
second. Yeah, it was amazing. These women are just so devoted to their cause, and I thank them for that, and I thank you for
Mhm.
finding them and being a part of that because
Yes.
it was really fun. So if
Yeah,
you're
I
in
was so happy to
Clarksville,
be a part of that. Yes.
yeah. So if you're listening to this and you're in Clarksville and you're pregnant or have a 5 and under, go visit the Hope Pregnancy Center.
Yes, go check them out. They're really awesome. There's sweet people in there too, for sure.
So, being able to complete this education and, get to the high level of a master's degree and being able to help people, what do you feel was your biggest struggle as let's go back to like military child. What was your
Mm.
biggest struggle as a military child growing up?
I think my biggest struggle was, which I guess is what's forced me to be okay with like meeting new people and everything. But like my parents weren't always, not that they weren't around, they were around, but my dad, like, he would deploy or he'd be in the field, like, he wasn't always there. Um, and so I think my biggest struggle with that is like missing like my dad. Outside of that, like we moved around often when I was little, and so I think I was used to that at a certain point since I was like born into it. Um, and I didn't really have like a huge issue with like meeting friends, but I was like a slow to warm type of kid. Like it take me a little bit to get used to you.
Yeah.
Um, but I think the biggest struggle was like bouncing from different schools and like the education systems being different, and not being as confident in myself as far as like my personality as well, and grades and stuff like that because every state is a little bit different as well.
So having that struggle with not only not having your dad there on a constant, but also just being in different schools and then your
Mhm.
personality being slow to warm up and really make those connections and you feel that that has helped you now to become this
Mhm.
woman that you are. Do you feel
Mhm.
that that kind of affected you? Now we know, like, it's positive, but back then, was it in a negative, or did you give it any attention or any mind?
I don't think at the time I gave it any attention or any mind, but I think like if I look back on it, it could have definitely affected like how I interacted with other people, of being like maybe even like a people pleaser, or just trying to make friends and connections, or just kind of going with the flow or doing whatever everybody else is kind of doing, which kind of led me into where I ended up with being like a teen mom. And at the time, like I had no thoughts about going to school or getting any further education because of like I'm really not all that great with like starting school and I don't really know if I can actually do it. And that was really because like I hopped from so many different like school systems. Everything's different. Um so yeah, I didn't have any thoughts about going to school, I guess kind of based off of my confidence in that. And then I did like struggle with friendships later on in life, as an adult. I think I struggled with friendships because I then realized like I am a huge people pleaser and I do things and say things to make sure that people like me basically.
Where would you say that your faith has played a role in your life?
Oh, I would say my faith has played a pretty big role in my life. I don't think when I was pregnant, my parents have always kept us, like, in church. We didn't go, like, all the time, with being military, it was kinda difficult trying to find a new home church all the time, but a seed was definitely planted, and so when I did get to rock bottom, after I had my baby, the only thing that I feel like I could do left was to go back to church and build a relationship with God, and I think me having that in general, and building a relationship with Him and understanding that it's not just, oh, you read the Bible and do what it says. Like I can build an actual relationship with him. And he understands me. He understands my pain and my hurt, and he's working on my behalf. Knowing that he's working in my favor and everything has really helped me with pushing forward and being, resilient and knowing like things are going to work out, because God's got my back. He's looking for it, and I didn't go through this because He put me here, but He's going to change the narrative of my backstory into something else. I think that's really what's helped me continue to push forward for sure.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Silence on that one. Just breathe that in. And so, with your business now,
Mhm.
what made you kind of break off to on your own now? How does that how did that
Yeah.
transition for you?
Well, I don't know if there was anything in particular. I think I know exactly what I want to do, and then what makes me feel full and purposeful, and as if I'm doing something and making a difference in somebody's life. And so, really, that was just what it was. Like, I want to help somebody, and so I need to set up a way that I can do that, and so in a way that I wanted to do it as well. So that's really real simple and generic.
Yeah.
What reason of why, I started it and broke off to do something on my own. It's like I know what I want to do, and the only way it's going to get done is if I do it myself. So,
Heck yeah. Love it. Is there anything else that you kind of can think of that you would like to share with the audience? I'd love to hear about who you help and who you serve and, what community and everything, if that's okay with you.
yeah. So I help women, young women typically, who are just wanting to, break away from their everyday busyness and responsibility, and help them understand that you can still follow your dreams, despite whatever it is that you have going on, whatever your circumstances are, you can still follow your dreams. And my goal is to help people get to their dreams without going broke.
Yeah.
So I want to be there for young people, so specifically teen moms. So I do have I'm starting that back up again. I had lost my focus, but teen moms specifically will do group coaching about different topics about things that they're going to probably go through, like co-parenting, forgiveness of yourself or your partner, um, budgeting, simple budgeting, resume, job outlooks, things like that. So I want to help teen moms in that area, but I also help young women as well outside of them being teen pregnancies or early single moms, new single moms or anything like that. Um, so I help them with developing like time management skills, like I said, budgeting, career outlook, and basically just finding out their why and their purpose and figuring out how they can get there. So I help women from ages 13 to about 30, is who I help with, age range, in any type of background. I do online services if they're local. I'm willing to do in person, but all of my services have been like over the phone or virtual of some sort. And so I do have a 30-day development, self-development journal. And so I use a lot of journaling in my coaching, as well as just writing prompts and helping them navigate with the grow model and SMART goals and everything like that.
Beautiful. So, if anybody is listening and they want to contact you, how can they do that?
Well, yeah, so they can find me on Facebook at Your Better You, and also on Instagram. It's also Your Better You, but the handle is betteryou._. And then my website, they can also find me at www.yourbetteryou.com.
If there was something empowering, some type of statement or lesson that you want to share with the audience, what would that be?
Is to be gentle with yourself. That's something that I have often been told by like my family. Give yourself grace. Remember where it is that you came from and how much you have already accomplished, because you are very resilient. And sometimes you just have to sit down for a second and realize how far you've come.
Thank you so much, Passion. I've enjoyed this talk and I can't wait to connect with you even more outside of the podcast. And if there's anything that you need, let me know. I'm excited to kind of connect with you and just see where this goes for you.
Yes. Thanks so much for having me. I enjoyed being here and talking with you today. I'm so excited for any future connections for sure.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
What an amazing conversation that was. Thank you so much for sharing your expertise, your knowledge, and your skills with the Coaching the Brave community. We appreciate you so much. And for you listeners out there, if you enjoyed it and it really touched your heart and you thought of someone that it could benefit, share it with them. Thank you again for listening. I encourage you to review, check out my website as well, YovannaChase.com, and find me on Instagram and Facebook at Yovanna Chase Coaches. And I am here because I want to help you succeed. I want to help you be a more positive you. And right now, I'm doing a promotion where you will get a one-on-one holistic fat loss program. You can get a free 15-minute call with me. So if you head on over to my IG, under my bio, you can find that Calendly link where you can go ahead and sign up for that. I'm excited to speak with you in person, oh my gosh, through this Zoom virtual life here. So if you are interested or know someone who might be interested in losing 20 pounds in 90 days holistically, please share, sign up. And again, I cannot wait to talk with you next week. Have a wonderful week.